There's this old poem that John Perkins used to say all the time, and he'd say, go to the people, live among them, love them, learn from them, start with what they have, build on what they know, but are the best leaders when their task is done, the people will say, we've done it ourselves. My wife and I, Courtney, we founded Harvest Hands together in 2007. We had a partnership with Brentwood Methodist Church to start something, but it was really us kind of living in the neighborhood and walking our dogs around the neighborhood, getting to know neighbors, and we started doing this thing called the Monday Lunch, and it was a bunch of women who volunteered from the church. They would come and help us to prepare lunch, and we'd gather neighbors, and that's where I met Hyle and Reuben and their kids.
2007, I was just like the mom that brought my kids to the program.
Had a friend, a neighbor that invited us over. This was catty corner from our house, and we saw kind of the plan of like, okay, we want to start an after-school program. As soon as the program started, we were some of the first kids, me and my brother, to sign up.
The neighbor request for Harvest Hands to be doing an after-school program, so they can keep the students that live in the area out of trouble.
And we realized that the teenagers there in that neighborhood really didn't have much interest to come to be with me and Courtney and a bunch of volunteers making up Bible verses with puppets, and singing stupid songs. So I said, Courtney, you gave me this roaster for Christmas, and I've always been interested in starting a roasting company. Maybe I could teach the guys to roast. And she's like, well, I'll teach the young ladies how to make handmade soap.
I was 12 years old when we started. Cal Turner, CEO of Dollar General, at the time, he was able to work with us, and that was part of the requirement, was you need to make a business plan. That meant at that point, we're gonna write a business plan.
First business plan I ever write in my life was to be presented to the former CEO and family who started Dollar General, and I'm gonna write this business plan with a bunch of kids.
We were called Mimic Coffee at the time, which was Men in Mentoring and Community. And Cal Turner was like, hey, let's rethink the name. Mimic sounds like imitation coffee. That turned into Humphrey Street.
We took this old church, the old Humphrey Street church, and turned it into a coffee shop, and people thought we were crazy. Some nonprofit coffee shop isn't gonna work. And so I'm telling you, if you do it right, and if you do the product with excellence, and you make this place a place where people wanna be, and you create jobs, and you really care for your neighborhood well, this thing will work.
When I began working at Harvest Hands, I was a freshman in high school. I started off making soap, and I then had opportunities to be a barista in our coffee shop, and now I have the opportunity to manage our soap production and be an event assistant.
For me, social enterprise is really just an opportunity to empower the youth, right? So we made businesses to get the kids in the neighborhood engaged in a very practical way. So when they make soap, they feel involved in our social enterprise, and they're involved in Harvest Hands. It's not just something that we do for them, it's something that we're building together as neighbors.
I always tell people we don't hire students to make coffee, we make coffee to hire students. That's why we do what we do.
We provide resources for them to be able to keep a job and maintain it, whether it's here or somewhere else, and then opportunities for them to go and seek higher education.
Our mission is to give opportunity to everybody who apply, and then see what the talent they have and empower them in those talents.
They are building the after-school program. They are building the business. This is not something that we're doing for them. They're mentored, and then they turn right back around and are mentored. And I just don't see it ever losing any steam, because we're constantly building in that way.
I don't think before I came to Harvest Hands I had a plan for myself, but with Harvest Hands, it kind of like helped me set focus on what I really wanted to do in life. And honestly, Harvest Hands is like I feel like it was a great start for me.
People need somebody to believe in them. We at Harvest Hands would like to be a part of championing our neighbors in this community.
Harvest Hands is an oasis in the desert.
Without Harvest Hands, I honestly don't know where I would be. My community is somewhere that I've grown up in, and as I see Harvest Hands work with other kids who were just like me or come from where I come from, it kind of puts a certain feeling in my heart that makes me want to continue to give back to those type of kids.
At Harvest Hands, the dream is to have it be run by people in the community, you know. It's really fostering leadership from within. I would love for one of these students to take my job. You know, I want to leave it better than I found it, and I want them to leave it even better and bigger.
I think how we impact Nashville is telling our story. As an after-school program, as a nonprofit, as a social enterprise that will make everybody look and say, hey, that's working. We need to do that too. I think it'll change all of our country.
The worst form of poverty is when someone believes that they have nothing to offer. And so much of our work is to help students to reframe that, to understand they do have potential and they're worthy. They can begin to see, like, oh, not only do I think I can make a difference, but I really can. Do they believe it, but they can live it out? That's the heartbeat of who we are, is having students who know that their lives matter, and that they have something to give, and that they have the skills necessary to not only do the things we're asking, but to go further and beyond what we could ever imagine in their life.